Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnana Murtim Dvandvatitam Gagan Sadrisham Tattvamasyadi Lakshyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adoration to the Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme precept. Yoga Vasishtha, Mumukshu Prakarana, section 16. The topic today is Gatekeeper, Satsanga. We have been introduced to three gatekeepers. First is Shama, serenity of mind. Second is Vichar, allowing the mind to be reflective. Reflective, what that which is the best in the world. That which you love most, figure that out by your mind. That's called vichar. But the mind gets into trouble. It's not figuring out what is the best thing you love. And it is closest to you. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. For the sake of self, all becomes dear. And that self cannot move away from you even for a split of a second. Figure that out. That's your identity. The practice is progressive. You gradually move towards that understanding. Third gatekeeper is Santosh. To develop a mind that is not constantly agitated, that I don't have all the resources others have. But with a mind that has a sensitive understanding that God is the reality behind you, and the trust that God has given you everything possible for your soul's evolution. That type of understanding called Santosh. That Santosh is totally different from satisfaction that brings passivity in your mind. I'm so spiritually advanced, I'm satisfied. I don't need any more sadhana. Didn't I hear Santosh? And I have Santosh. I'm also contented with the idea that I am contented. So you have to understand the difference between the real practice of Santosh and mental illusion about Santosh. The real Santosh is the source of source of dynamic spiritual movement. You don't feel bored or tired or exhausted, but it's a source of constant inspiration. But the deluded type of Santosh stops you from doing anything. So you have to understand the big difference. First one is called Santosh, the second one called Tushti. Tushti in a different, negative way. Tushti Bhranti is the real term for it. Now coming to the fourth, Satsanga, literally meaning good association. But most important point in Satsanga is to be guided by saintly personalities, to be guided by Guru. And Guru is defined by one who is on the path to liberation, or who is liberated, and who is not going to slip back into the world. So when you have come to that state, or as you are moving towards advanced state, you become a source of inspiration for others. Seeking that type of association, whom to follow, and congregation of people who will inspire you to follow that movement. The whole setup, sage, the entire satsanga community or satsanga atmosphere, all that is termed as satsanga. The glory of satsanga has been sung by all scriptures. Tulsidasi says, Tat swarg apavarg sukha dhariya tula ika ang, tulayana tahi sakala mili, yo sukha la satsang. Bring all the attainments of this world, heavenly, earthly, all attainments, put in on one side of the balancing scale. This old times measuring the value. Put on one side of, and put the benefit of satsanga on the other side. This benefit of satsanga will far outweigh all your attainment. And before I enter into the section, let me give you a scriptural story. Stories are always gives rasa to the mind. Great sage Narada came to a state of understanding that the best thing to be given to the world is inspiring them to turn to satsanga. But how am I to present that to the world? What is the glory of satsanga? And let me have an exact guidance from Lord Vishnu. Who else can tell me about the glory of satsanga? This storyline, he gets an opportunity to have darshan of Lord Vishnu. And he says, "Oh Lord, please tell me about the glory of satsanga that I can communicate with masses." It's a wonderful idea. But I'm busy at this time. Go to a certain forest, and in that there is a special tree. And Lord Vishnu gives insight into that. On that tree, you will find a squirrel. Ask that squirrel, what is the benefit of satsanga? And you will get the answer to what you are asking. Narada scratched his head. I'm adding to this story. How can a squirrel give me that insight? But how can he debate with Lord Vishnu? In other words, no discussions. He simply followed the command and went to the forest, exactly to the place as was indicated by Lord Vishnu. It's the morning time, sun was about to rise, and beautiful tree, lots of lush leaves and fruits. And there was a very happy and joyous squirrel. Looked like a monkey, big, fat. When Narada appeared, Narada looked at the squirrel, and the squirrel was also curious, looked at Narada. And Narada said, "You squirrel, I have been sent by Lord Vishnu to learn from you the glory of satsanga." The squirrel put the nut in both his hands. Looked at Narada and suddenly froze. Stillness. To such an extent, squirrel fell down dead. Narada's heart was touched by it. He couldn't do anything about it. Again, he waited for the opportunity to learn from Lord Vishnu. And meeting Lord Vishnu, he said all about that experience about the squirrel, that he didn't succeed to get any message. Lord Vishnu said, "Still I'm too busy to give you direct teaching. Go to the same tree. This time you will find a monkey. And that monkey will tell you." Ken Narada could not express his annoyance about learning from a monkey. But knowing that is Lord's command. So he goes to the forest, and this time he finds a beautiful monkey, very energetic, bouncing from branch to branch, going after the fruits. And Narada addresses the monkey, "Oh, dear monkey, I've been sent by Lord Vishnu to ask you about the glory of satsanga, benefits of satsanga." The monkey looked at Narada. And Narada repeated the question again. The monkey looked on, and Narada kept patient to listen something. And then suddenly the monkey falls down dead, right at the feet of Narada. Again, touched by that scene, Narada waits to have opportunity to have darshan of Lord Vishnu. Finding that opportunity, he conveys that he didn't succeed. And he tells what has happened. Not only said this. All right, go to, in the same forest, but close by there is a village. So, old time village. It was kind of a city, not ordinary village. And there is a king there. Yeah. And the king's family have a newborn baby. Go. That baby will tell you the benefit of satsanga. Narada heard it. Now he realized he had a big problem now. Squirrel died, nobody complained about it. Monkey died, nobody complained about it. And if the prince was the baby was prince who is going to be going to succeed the king, heir apparent to the king. And so if he were to die, that would be a terrible thing. However, again, it is God's command. So he goes there, meets the king, and the king brings the baby, "Oh sage, give blessings to the baby." And he says, I have a special blessing to give, so keep the baby quite separate, private. The king and queen thought it's a wonderful thing. Sage has such interest in this baby. So they moved away, kept the baby private with Narada. And having secured that everything is perfectly private, Narada asks, I have been sent by Lord Vishnu, look into the eyes of the baby, to learn about the glory of satsang. Now, baby became still. The eyes won't wink. It took a minute or two. I can hold it for a minute too also. Narada's heart began to sink. What will happen now? What will I say to his parents? What type of blessing have I given to the baby? He was shaking all over. And suddenly the baby voice came from the baby as if the baby was grown up. He said, "Oh Narada, are you blind? That you are asking glory of satsanga?" Okay, let me give you a little more. And Narada said, "Why do you say that? I'm not blind. I'm looking at you." Then the royal baby said, "Look, I was that squirrel cracking nuts. Your satsanga transformed me. So I became monkey, running from branch to branch. Market. Monkey business. You'll be surprised. The word market comes from Sanskrit word markat. Markat means monkey. No business can equal monkey business. By your satsanga, that monkey's aspect dissolved. See, the first aspect, eating nuts, that's called mala, gross impurities. Second aspect, vikshepa, distractions, represented by monkey. So as you start satsanga, the first thing to die is the squirrel in you. Second thing to die is the monkey in you. And if you still don't realize the glory of satsanga, you are blind. And now, at the third level, stage of your satsanga benefit, you have come to me. Though I am a prince, I will not be interested in the royalty of the world. I'm going to attain enlightenment by your grace. So 3 obstacles removed. Bala, squirrel dead. Vikshepa, monkey dead. Avarana, the veil of illusion, broken. That means the baby becomes enlightened. Nobody dies now. It's an interesting story. That's the parable of benefit of satsanga. Visheshena mahabuddhe sansarottarane nirnam sarvatropakaroti here sadhu samagamaha. Satsanga or sadhu samagam means association with saintly personalities. That type of association is meant for crossing over the ocean of the world process. And its benefit is effective in all conditions. In other words, satsanga improves your personality, helps you in every stage of your spiritual movement. No matter what condition you are in a state of adversity, drowning in sorrow, or you may be in a state of being sick physically, or in a state of turmoil in your family, and so many, all conditions, no matter where you are. Satsanga is always a source of inspiration, a healing touch, and remedying the problem you are suffering from. So it is not a medicine once in a way to be taken, 1 tablet a day. Now then you can ask, well, one can't be always in a satsanga. To understand, physical form of satsanga becomes a source of inspiration, but practice of satsanga is your internal sensitivity. Say, for example, instead of subjecting yourself to grief, You adopt some method, like doing japa. Go out into the garden, talk to the birds. Ask them, why are you so happy? I am a human being, more advanced than you, and I'm not. I'm joking. More seriously, what it means, satsanga prepares you, leads you on to Shravana and Manana. In satsanga, you listened. Now, when you do manan, reflecting, no matter where you are doing the reflection, it is satsanga. So if you allow your bhavana feeling to become positive, Godward feeling, so no matter where you are, it becomes a source of satsanga. The Hindi saying is, Man changa, the katvat mein Ganga. Your mind becomes Godward, positive. Then even in your bathtub, your mind feels joyous, as if you are in the Ganges water, a sacred water. Feel a divine touch taking away not bodily impurities, but impurities of the mind. The karmas, sinful karmas of the soul, all are being dissolved. In other words, you can develop a profound feeling. And that's the result of Shravana, Manana. Third level is Nididhyasana, when the mind becomes deeply drenched. All that is satsanga movement. Following the path of devotion, satsanga also inspires you how to recite kirtans, bhajans. So, even if you are not in satsanga, actual satsanga, you become involved in kirtan, you sing your mantra, you dance with it. You're a musician, you play music along with your mantra. Bhajan, kirtan, sumiran, archan. You also, in your actions, you adore God in others. How do you adore them? By doing good to them. Literal adoration is also good. Fold your hands. Namaste. Neither me nor you, God within you, God within me. That recognition is called namaste. So all these are different aspects of satsanga. So much so that if you bring integral yoga in your life, then there is perpetual satsanga. But satsanga doesn't always mean that it is always tasty and joyous. Satsanga also demands patience, endurance, being unshaken even in adverse circumstances. All these qualities that develop, satsanga tree is growing along with all these virtuous qualities. From satsanga, the tree of satsanga, there arises the snowy white flowers of sanamati. Sanamati means good understanding. That's one of the best prayers. सबको सन्मति दे भगवान. O God, give right understanding to every soul. All the prayer that you can imagine in your mind, someone is miserable, poor, and you can pray, oh God, give him a lot of wealth. If he is unhealthy, give him health. Remove his mental worries, keep him happy. Think of all prayers, but the greatest of all, O God, give him right understanding. The right understanding puts him in tune with God. All things that you could have imagined to give him, he will get it by himself, without you being involved. That was the central point. One type of prayer, you are the giver of the prayer. And making the person recipient, always a recipient. That prayer is good in its own way, but that's not the highest. But prayer that makes the recipient completely self-dependent, not depending upon anybody. I'm talking all this from a profound point of view. That's the highest prayer. So that sanmati comes as a result of satsanga. Those who cherish sanmati, good understanding. Another synonym for sanmati is viveka buddhi, discriminative intellect. Intellect that sees the difference between truth and falsehood. What's real from a spiritual point of view. All dream experience is unreal. Awakened state in that context is real. Similarly, all your experiences through your limited mind and senses are not the reality. Mind turns towards the understanding and becomes fascinated in that process. What is then the reality? And mind understands the need of removing gross impurities, mala, by karma yoga, yoga of action. Removing vikshepa, distractions, by bhakti and dhyana, devotion and meditation. And then finally, removing the veil of illusion by enlightenment. That's what I described through the story parable. First, stop cracking nuts. Next, stop jumping like a monkey. Next, we don't stay cozy with a royal family. Develop vairagya. The association of saints or saintly personality turns an abode of misery into an abode of joy. Even death turns into festivity. Adversities become blessings. If you are coming under the guidance of saintly personality, suppose there is a situation of a pathetic condition, some near and dear one has passed away, and among the group there is a saintly person who tells, lovingly influences people to understand that they shouldn't be selfish. If they really love the soul, understand the soul is not crying anymore. Rid of all sufferings. If you really love the soul, calm down. Feel joyous. The soul is not in any way in trouble by leaving the body. So it is a matter of enjoyment, a kind of rejoicing. It's a festivity, not a pathetic situation. So, even one powerful saint changes the adversity into prosperity. Adversity terminates when your life flows on the path of satsanga. Because you do not view adversity as adversity. Your definition of adversity changes. Vipado naiva vipada, sampado naiva sampada, vipat vismaranat Vishnu, sampat narayana smriti. What does it mean? Adversity is not adversity. Prosperity is not prosperity. Real adversity is that when you forget about God. When godly relation is ignored. That's real adversity. And similarly, prosperity is not prosperity if it drowns your mind into illusion, into vanity. On the other hand, if you have the joy of satsanga, if you have tasted it, adversity is viewed by you as a kind of austerity. Prosperity is viewed by you as a kind of blessing to humble down. Adversity should give you inner strength. And prosperity should give you humility. All this you learn through satsanga. Satsanga brightens your intellect. Your intellect, if it is only interested in worldly prosperity, is a dull intellect. It's not bright intellect. But intellect that has been brightened by satsanga, you live to attain enlightenment, live to develop divine qualities in your personality, live to see the squirrel dead, the monkey demolished, and the king awakened. All the three are there within every personality. And that's the joy of satsanga. Otherwise, we are seeing the same personality, just the squirrel, or squirrel and monkey together. Satsanga is the dispeller of all miseries, mental worries, sorrows, anxieties, and so forth. Just as by watering a garden, one gains bunches of flowers. Similarly, if you allow your heart to be showered by satsanga, the blossom that comes out of your heart is vivek, that discriminative insight that begins to show to you that you are totally different. All things you are experiencing through your mind, through your senses, they are refractions of consciousness. They are not real. You are pure consciousness. for easy understanding. Sun is the reality. All illuminations of the sun on the earth, they are refractions of the sun. When the refractions go in turmoil, nothing has happened to the sun. But if your identity is in that level of refraction, then even little water shakes and the reflected sun shakes more than the water. That's the strange predicament of human sorrows and miseries. No matter how miserable you feel you are, the reality in you, the soul in you is like the sun. All the experience of your misery is in the realm of ignorance. Terrible things happen in your dream. Wake up, nothing has happened. Satsanga enables you to wake up from the long dream of the world process. Satsanga promotes that type of a happiness that has no restrictions. Happiness that you acquire as a result of your wealth, that has restrictions. It will depend upon your money, see, your bank accounts and so forth. Happiness that you have gained by material possessions, wonderful house, you are very happy. But then you suddenly hear the news, it has a lot of termites. Here, someone has won a big lottery, amazing quantity of money. But he's inflicted with cancer. Or his heart attack. By hearing he has won the money. So, all human happiness has this type of limitation. But unobstructed happiness is what Satsanga promotes. The type of happiness that you enjoy is going to go on increasing until you attain liberation. Satsanga will keep you busy. With a rod of divine love. And I'm going to conclude at this stage. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarupam Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyama Mritat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.